If I told you that there was a career path that can offer crazy, awesome flexibility, can work from anywhere, gives you a wide set of skills that you can apply to just about any industry, any company, any product, any service, doesn't actually require a 4-year degree, and can put you on a path to a 6-figure income working at a company or working for yourself, is that something you'd be interested in learning about? And keep on watching, because in this video I'm going to share with you why a career in digital marketing might be your ticket. And most importantly, 3 simple steps you can take starting today to kickstart your career in that field. But before I get started, folks, if you're new to the channel, my name is Richard Walls and I'm here to help you with career development and personal finance. So if either of those 2 topics are of interest to you, do consider subscribing down below and hitting the notification bell so you get notified of when I post new content. So with that said, let's get started. Now, digital marketing is a bit of a broad subject. It's a pretty wide field and you can really go down a lot of different paths, which is partly why this career path is very interesting. There's just a lot of options to explore and many jobs and roles and titles under this digital marketing umbrella. But what is digital marketing? The core of it, digital marketing is how you bring a product or a service to the market, to consumers or to businesses, and reach those customers in the digital world, i.e. the interwebs. This is how you market something online. It goes without saying, there's a lot you can do online, and some of the common job titles that you might see associated with digital marketing or within the digital marketing umbrella are the following: digital marketing strategist, social media manager, email marketing manager, online advertising, search engine marketing, and affiliate marketing manager. Now, you can spend many years in any one of these fields, but I would recommend, if you are interested in a career in digital marketing, that you explore all of these fields. Having a well-rounded experience is going to help move you up in your career. It's going to help move you up in whatever company you're at so that you occupy higher levels of decision making. Also, because all of this is online oriented, the likelihood of finding a job that's going to be remote work is going to be quite a bit higher here than perhaps other job fields. Now, regardless of where you want to start, let's talk about the 3 ways you can start getting your career moved in that direction. This is going to be a way to kickstart that journey. Step number 1 is acquire skills and credentials. There are a few ways you can go about this. One is self-education through Googling and YouTube. There's a lot of great content freely available out there online, and if you have the patience, if you're well organized, if you're self-motivated, you can go out and acquire these skills. The only downside is you won't really have anything to show for it unless you start building projects, unless you start doing perhaps some freelance work on your own. You won't have any sort of credential at the end of your investigation or all your research. So an employer isn't going to know whether you did do all this Googling, you did do all these, courses on YouTube, for example. But there's a better approach that I would recommend, which is more around structured learning, organized learning. It's not just you Googling stuff and going on YouTube, which is, again, totally acceptable, totally fine, especially if you want to deep dive in specific topics, but I would recommend some kind of formal coursework that you can do online. In most cases, you do have to pay something for it. The main benefit is you get a certificate at the end of completing that coursework that you can show to prospective employers. But you don't have to just take your word for it that you did all this research and you learned on your own. You've got something to show for it. Except, the big except, is that some of the stuff that I'll be talking about here in a moment are a tiny fraction of the cost of a traditional 4-year degree. And again, for a digital marketing role, you don't need a 4-year degree. You don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars. But with respect to online courses, there are 2 options that I'll recommend, and I've got links down in the description below that you can check out. First option is Coursera. This is one of the most popular online learning platforms in the world, and they have a lot of really great relationships with the top universities and top companies in the world to develop all this coursework around a lot of in-demand job skills. And one of those in-demand job skills is digital marketing. In fact, there's one specific course track that I would recommend you investigate a little bit more closely, and that is the one that Google actually put together for Coursera, which, if you're doing anything with digital digital marketing, you're likely going to be working with Google products. So this one could be very worthwhile because it does give you a great foundation. It gives you an understanding of how you buy advertisements on Google. It'll give you fundamentals on how to best rank in search, which is, again, this, if you remember earlier, SEM, search engine marketing. SEO, search engine optimization, is another term you might hear, but how do you get whatever it is you're selling, your product or service, how do you get it to be ranked #1 or ranked top 10 when somebody searches in Google for whatever kind of product that it is you're offering? If someone is searching for toaster, best toaster. If someone's searching for best toaster to buy, and you're at a company that sells toasters, you want your toaster, you want your brand to show up in that first slot or the top 10. You want customers to see it first and foremost. So you'll learn a lot of those basics here, and that's one course track that I would really recommend. The second option is through Course Careers and their digital marketing course. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos around tech sales, but this platform really is dedicated as a education to job pathway. And this is where Course Career partners with various companies out there that have very specific needs for certain roles. So tech sales is a big one. IT support is something else that they offer and companies are looking for. And digital marketing is a third one that they recently added. And the whole point of Course Careers is really to build a pipeline of candidates that matches people that are getting skills or learning, being educated on certain in-demand skills, and matching them up with companies that are looking for those skills specifically, and really having that pipeline, that connection. And this can be anywhere from internships to part-time positions to full-time positions. And generally, there's a lot of opportunities for internships that eventually become full-time opportunities. But the process is you complete the coursework first, you get your certificate, you connect with other students that are also in the same program, you share best practices on how to best interview, and you also build an online presence through some of the training that they offer on LinkedIn. This is, again, very surface level, but it gives you enough of a foundation to really optimize your LinkedIn profile and make you more attractive to companies that are looking for digital marketers. And then you start applying to jobs, and that could be jobs that are accessible through Course Careers, where they've partnered with certain companies to make certain job listings available to just Course Careers students. And of course, you can apply to any job that is out there that exists that you think you'd be qualified for. But the point here is to get a good foundation for digital marketing so that you can land an entry-level position and work your way from there. Step 2 is you build your online presence and you network. And if you end up doing any of the 2 course options that I mentioned above, there are going to be some modules and some trainings on how to best optimize your LinkedIn profile. But apart from that, I've also got some content on how to go about doing that. And you'll want to check out the video that I post in the tag above, or you can check the link down in the description below. But really, you'll want to start networking with people that are already in digital marketing. This means that once you've acquired your skills, your credentials, that's something you can add to your LinkedIn profile. And if you've done any kind of project work, that's something to also include there. But then you want to start reaching out to people that are in these roles that you yourself have an interest in and start connecting with them, finding out if there's a time for you to meet with them either virtually, on the phone, or in person. It's a chance for you to learn more about the field, but more importantly, it's a way for you to communicate and express your interest in that type of job. You are trying to sell the value that you can bring to an organization. And just as it is the case with sales, job search can also be a little bit of a numbers game. Now, this doesn't mean you do a shotgun approach and you meet with everybody under the sun. You still want to be selective because you will want to narrow down perhaps what industry you want to be in, maybe the type of digital marketing role. But then when you start meeting with people and you have, or you end up making really good connections with, let's say you meet with 10 people and 3 of them ended up being really good conversations, you want to make sure you allot time to do follow-ups. It's not just having that one conversation and then you're done. It's having the follow-up conversations that's really going to matter, because at that point you're building a relationship so that if an opportunity comes up within their company or within their network that they might be aware of, they'll keep you in mind. Step number 3 is gain real-world experience. Once you have some credentials, once you started networking, you'll want to start seeking out some real-world experiences. Experience is going to be the most important piece of the puzzle, and there's actually a handful of ways you can go about getting that that doesn't necessarily mean getting a full-time job off the bat. There are internships at companies where it's sort of like a contract position in a way, but there's a finite amount of time that you're with this company carrying out a specific project. So generally you learn, you work for a few months and you get paid for it. Then there's also contract work, which is a more limited time arrangement. It can be, you know, any amount of time really, but there's a finite amount of time that you're contracted with this company to carry out a specific project. So a little bit different than an internship. But then there's contract work, which is also a limited time arrangement. There's a start date, end date, and there's a project that you have to complete within that time frame. And then of course there are part-time and full-time roles. Those are self-explanatory. Now there's also apprenticeships, which are a little bit like internships or part-time roles or contract work, but it's really more focused around learning, around mentorship, and you still, I would imagine in some cases you get paid for it, but maybe not always the case. There's one good platform that I would recommend you look into, and it's called Acadium. And you can learn a little bit more about what that is and what they offer in the link in my description below. But while you're seeking out those opportunities, you may want to consider the more entrepreneurial route where you can do freelance work. You can stand up your own e-commerce shop with a product that you yourself use or maybe have an interest in. And starting an e-commerce shop has never been easier than today. There's so many options out there. This is something you can YouTube and Google. You can get some insight as to how to go about doing that, but that's going to give you some experience if for some reason you can't get traditional work experience through an internship, part-time, full-time role, contract work. But you have to start somewhere. You need to start gaining some kind of experience. So really you experiment with digital marketing on your own, and the more experience you can develop earlier on, the sooner other opportunities will become available to you. Now to learn a little bit more about digital marketing, you'll want to check out this video here. And as I mentioned, networking and online presence is another big part of the equation. So you'll want to check out some tips that I have for you in this video here that will show you a little bit about how to build your LinkedIn profile. But I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around.